When we last left you with the deck, we had just torn everything down, and this week it is time to focus on the footers.
Thanks for watching our anniversary and re-wedding video last week. Fun fact is that we're actually standing in the same exact location, but our local farmer who currently rents the land from us mowed and hayed. I don't know if that's the right term, but
I think it is. Like, I think that is also a verb. Haying, like, is an action. Nothing says Memorial Day weekend like swimming and yard work, and we are making both of those things happen today. All right, look at Clark here. Model it, buddy, model it. Da-da-da-da. This is our hydraulic one-man auger. We are hoping that it is going to help us dig some post holes this weekend, right, bud? For our township and the inspections that we need to go from start to finish with our deck, there are actually 3 inspections. The first one is footers. The second one is framing, and the third one is the final product. So with our footer inspection, we essentially just had to have the holes dug. They didn't want anything in them because they just wanted to verify that they were a safe and appropriate depth. Happy Memorial Day. It is looking very ominous outside. I know, boo was right. Yeah, we have a bunch of family members coming over today to help us dig these holes, but there is like a 50 to 70% chance of thunderstorms, including strong winds and hail and potentially a lot of rain in a little bit of time. So we're a little torn, but we've spent the money on the equipment. Jonathan's off of work today, and we have a bunch of people coming to help, so
gotta get her done.
Get her done, but then the holes fill in anyway. We'll see. You hear my roosters? They're calling to me. I need to go feed the chickens before people show up, so fingers crossed. Wish us luck.
Our regulations for our township is that we had to dig down 36 inches, and that just is to get us below the frost line so that it doesn't like heave, doesn't push up the pillars when the ground freezes.
So I guess that would depend on the area you live in, right? If you live further south, your frost level is probably a lot higher than ours. And if you live further north, I would imagine you have to dig even deeper. Pennsylvania, 36 inches, which...
Well, northern Pennsylvania, I think it was like 44.
Oh,
so.
We got the sweet end of the deal. We live in southern PA, like very southern PA, almost Maryland. 36 felt like a lot to us, but apparently...
It is deep when you see that,
yeah.
Especially when you dig it by hand.
Wow, sort of. We had an idea of what we wanted and needed as far as size and the length and the width and all of that sort of stuff. We plugged it into a program. We didn't want to reinvent the wheel and have to engineer everything ourselves. And based on that program, we needed 6 pillars, 6 supports. Yeah, take 2. I just said all of this, but apparently I wasn't actually recording anything. We are working as quickly as we can here to try and beat the weather because we would like to have the holes dug and covered before these torrential storms roll into our area. We have about half of our crew here so far. First hole, we are almost below the frost line there. Second hole, these guys are hand digging a little bit to get some rocks out so that we can put the auger back into business. Oh, I'll say it again. There's the angle. So we had 6 holes to dig. As we mentioned, each one had to be 36 inches deep. Based on a soil analysis that we did for the type of soil that we have here on our land, it told us that basically what we were looking for was a width of at least 16 inches.
To aid in our digging, we didn't do them completely by hand. We did rent a towable auger with a 16-inch bit. Our soil is pretty rocky, and it definitely was like an at least 2-person job because it was going all over the place and you have to kind of maneuver it. It's stuck.
And the area that we were using the auger on is a hill, so just to get it to stay into place.
But it was a huge help. Got lots of help out here today. Joe's gonna man the auger. We're gonna attempt this hole, which is right near where the water line comes into the house. We did call 811, but because our water line meter is down at the end of the driveway, everything beyond that is considered private and they won't mark. So we did a lot of measurements inside the house. We've determined the water line should be at least 52 inches below the ground, and we're not going that deep. We're gonna give this one a shot. And we have 2 additional holes to make. Now we're almost there.
When he says rocky, we're not talking like pebbles. You can tell me if I'm exaggerating because I am kind of the queen of exaggeration, but I would say the largest rock that came out of one of those holes was probably like this big. I'm not talking like climbable boulders or anything, like bigger than the span of the hole itself, but big.
Yeah.
Like enough that we had to do a lot by hand.
Digging iron was essential.
Speaking of the digging iron, we actually conned our family into coming to our house and having a digging party on Memorial Day. My sister had texted a group with my other sister and my mom and said, hey, are we gonna get together for the holiday? Why don't we have a barbecue at our house? We can grill burgers. I knew that Jonathan and I were not gonna be able to go if they had it there because we needed to get some deck work done.
Yeah.
So I responded back and I said, we would love to get together, but what are the chances that you guys can come here? The pool's open, the kids can swim, the guys can dig holes, it'll be a fun time.
Sorry,
you know what?
guys.
Yeah, sorry guys. That was a fun Memorial Day. Clark made the joke that I thought was hilarious and said it actually wasn't Memorial Day, it was Labor Day. Is this your idea of a fun Memorial Day?
Yes.
You working hard, buddy? Are you working so hard? We say we conned them. We didn't con them. They were all very willing and wanted to help. Could we have done it ourselves? Yes, but having a bunch of muscle to be able to swap in and out. Everybody brought their own tools. My brother was joking and saying instead of BYOB, it was BYOPHD, bring your own post hole digger. Yeah, it was a happy Memorial Day, especially for me, because they got it done. They got it done pretty fast too. While the crew was hard at work in the front yard digging holes, we've got some pups out here hard at play, and we got a pool full of kiddos. I'm currently on lifeguard duty. It's awesome. They're having a lot of fun.
And it was great that everybody came because it kept the kids occupied. They could swim and play with their cousins and friends.
We have already been getting a lot of use out of the pool, so we've been enjoying that a lot, and I think all the kids have fun.
Mm-hmm.
It is almost 4:30 in the evening, and I wanted to give a little status update here. The guys were able to get all of the holes dug. We've gotten really lucky with the weather. Storms have passed around us a couple of times. We've gotten some drizzle, we've gotten some winds that have come through, but we haven't had any downpours. And if I look at the weather for the next couple of days, it looks like some chances of storms here and there, but for the most part, sun. Hopeful that we will be able to get our inspector here in the next day or two for the footer inspection so that we can continue to move on through the process and get the concrete in the ground. But for now, the forms themselves give some structure. We then cut little pieces of plywood to sit on top of the forms, and then we of course have tarp over top of that. So hopefully they will be weatherproofed well enough to get us through to inspection and filling the footers. Most of the crew has left, but Matt and Sabrina and the girls are still here. Matt and Jonathan are continuing to work on the rim joists. Almost there, step by step. We are closer to the official start of the deck. Holes were dug, step number 1, inspection, and we passed. Easy peasy.
Flying colors.
So many colors. At this point, we got our footer holes dug 2 days ago. I followed up with the inspector this morning after the long holiday weekend, and he said that he believes he's gonna be able to come out here shortly. If I peek out the window here, I will show you that the footer holes are still covered with the tarps and brick. This time of year, it's pretty much a chance of a thunderstorm all day, every day. I am going to head outside with Clark here and get these holes uncovered so that hopefully, fingers crossed, we will have a quick and smooth inspection this morning. The depths will be fine, and then we'll be able to proceed with our next step, pouring the concrete in the forms and getting the footers in place so that we can start framing. We were good to go there. Then the next step was for us to fill in all of the holes. We have a lot going on with dance right now. It's the end of the year for that, and so recital, rehearsal, pictures, all of that stuff is coming up. I had not only the job of getting my kiddos to and from pictures yesterday, but also was helping with 2 of my nieces, and so I felt bad for him because I didn't expect him to get very much done. I said, like, do what you can, but we have all day Sunday if we need it also. He finished, before we even got home yesterday, 4 of the 6 pillars. How's it going?
35 bags of concrete mixed and poured, and 7 bags left. So I think we'll have pretty much the perfect amount.
I will admit when I'm wrong. Jonathan did a little calculator and told me we were gonna need almost 60 bags of concrete. I thought he was crazy, but yep, 7 bags in each one. So you were right. The calculator was right. You essentially dig your hole, you put what's called a soniform tube down in there. You don't have to, but it helps with structure and keeping the cement in place. It's like a cardboard tube. And then you fill it up with concrete.
It was about 7 bags per hole.
Yeah.
So that's like, without water, 560 pounds of concrete in each pillar.
The dogs were outside the whole time, and I have to say that they did a great job. We did end up with 1 Cleo footprint, and I really
She laid on one, but
she did lay on one.
that didn't really mess it up.
Yeah, the footprint was adorable, and I really wanted to leave it. And that is a wrap on the footers. We only had 1 little Cleo footprint in one of them, so we did pretty good.
Now that the footers are done and poured, the next step is actually to get the rim joist repair complete. Then we'll start with framing.
Have a good week. Thank you for watching, and
you.
we will see you next time. If I'm being honest, it's not fun to spend all of your time off working. I feel like all of our nights and evenings and weekends and holidays lately have been nothing but hard work. But what I will say is that we know the hard work is going to be worth it in the end. And I know that we probably sound like broken records, but having a deck with this view is going to be pretty amazing. The pool's open, the chickens. Up and inspected everything because he told me.
I'll be showing you the things.
Am I showing the things? I'm always showing the things.
Hi.
Give him. I'm gonna give him all the credit.
No,
That's where I was about ready to say before I give him all of the credit because he deserves all of the credit.
You did help.
I
She helped with the last hole.
I helped for
or
like
2.
5 minutes, just like circling because I'm sure all sorts of nests.
Sorry, that's what I
sure.
heard.
I don't know how I've been married to him for 15 years. Do you see this? He is not nice to me.
Oh man.
Yeah, you deserve that. That's called karma.
Tickle.
Sense. Also.
Or plumb bob or whatever.
What would I do, Jackson?
But is it? Hey.